Hello guys, welcome back to BoreDraw, and we are on episode number 14?
Smashed it at 14,
14.
Yeah, 14.
Oh my god, 14, wow. And we're only today discussing the first set of games in the Premier League. Mad.
Felt
it's
good.
Crazy.
Felt good.
How was it, Roz, for the Premier League to be back? How much has your life improved since last Friday?
Honestly, vibes is all I can say. Friday night, Arsenal playing. We're out in London, having a good time. Get to watch the boys live in the pub. It's a good time.
It's just it's so good to have football back. It can't be understated how much you miss it. You don't realise how much you miss it until it's actually back.
Yeah, like my general kind of mood, I don't get really excited for much until the football's on, and then my bloody like internal body emotions are all over the gaff. Arsenal playing well, then we're playing shit. So yeah, it's good to be back in.
It's great mindset. To be back. Yeah, so before we start, we just want to announce we are going to be running a YouTube football giveaway competition.
Let's go.
We will be giving away a mystery shirt.
We're well good at these mystery shirts.
We love mystery shirts. Who doesn't like free
Look at all these
shirts?
Mystery shirts.
Yeah, we keep adding to the collection. We've got a massive collection. But the rules and regulations will be down below in the description. The brief rules are you just got to subscribe to our channel, and every comment you put on a video from now until the end of the competition, which would be the 29th or 27th of August. It's basically the day before the
Game Week 5.
Game Week 5, basically, yeah. But everything will be down in the descriptions. Every comment that you do put on every video since this one will be uploaded, we'll give you an extra entry into the raffle. But yeah.
You do want to win a mystery top. Yeah. Geezer the won it on our last giveaway. Shout out Big Paul. He loved it. Yeah, mystery tops. Get involved. It's
get
easy.
them on.
Subscribe.
That's all you got to do. But yeah, everything's going to be down in the description below, so make sure you check it out for your chance to win a free mystery football shirt. And it will be a good one, we promise. We promise.
Not this Everton one.
Not this Everton one. Who wants that stinky Everton shirt? Oh. That slap bang in the middle of our backdrop. Okay. Anyway, the football, Roz. The football is back, and we're going to start with the first game that took place on Friday night at Selhurst Park.
The bloody boys.
It was Arteta versus Vieira. Arsenal versus the Palacemen.
Two Arsenal midfield icons in Arteta and Vieira going head to head.
Yeah.
You love to see it.
So obviously, Roz, if no one knew, you're actually an Arsenal fan. You kept that a bit quiet over the last couple episodes.
Nah, support Dundee, mate.
Dundee United,
Bosh.
Yes. Give us your take on the game that ended 2-0 to the Cannon Men.
Well, I think my first take is that 2-0 against Palace away is a very good result. If you just take it at face value, like 38 games into the season, no one's going to be worrying about how we got that 3 points, because that'll be 3 points that I think a lot of other teams in and around us won't get. I can see the likes of United, Spurs, Chelsea going to Palace and struggling. They're a good team.
Yeah, I think out of the sort of outside the top six, you're looking at teams like Palace and Brighton.
Yeah, I had them quite high.
Potentially even like a Newcastle. Are you being attacked by a fly right now? My days. We got a special guest on the podcast right now. We've got a fly. But yeah, outside the top six, you're looking at teams like Palace and Brighton and probably someone like Newcastle.
I had Palace quite high in my predictions.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Not a good place to go. Not the ideal start.
The stadium is just so compact, and the crowd, as far as crowds go, Palace
are very, very good support.
And so, like, if you go there and you don't back yourself as a team, you'll get run over.
And we saw last season just how good they were, and they've only really added to their strength
100%.
with their signings. So a 2-0 result for Arsenal on the beginning day of the season against a difficult opposition, you must be happy.
Yeah, 100%. Especially because, like, Arsenal, we always seem to be on TV as the first game of the opening of the season, and we always seem to bottle it, like Brentford last year. We had one a couple of years ago that was pretty bad. And so my worry is that we'd just shit the bed on TV again, and then everybody would come for Arteta's neck.
Especially after the pre-season you've had and all the
exactly, all the hype
like been pushing towards Arsenal.
Me putting Arsenal third in my predictions, too much hype.
Let's talk about the performances. We'll start with Arsenal. Obviously, anyway, the way I've seen it is the first 40 minutes were almost flawless.
Mate, the first 20 minutes we were electric. I've seen so many pundits say that out of the first week of fixtures, Arsenal's first half was the best performance out of any team at any point. And I agree. We looked so good in that first 15 minutes. So, if we buried a couple more chances. We could have been like 4-0 up at like half an hour in. We were so on them. Gabriel Jesus looked like a handful, mate. We were watching it together, obviously. That dribble where he like took on like 5 people and then kind of scuffed his final shot. I was like, Jesus Christ, what a start.
It's going to be scary coming up against an attacking output that literally contains Jesus, Martinelli, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka. And especially when you've got players like Thomas Partey and Xhaka protecting that sort of back line, even playing those progressive passes with Zinchenko moving in. It is going to be a dangerous opposition to come up against, and I think a lot of Premier League sides will struggle. I think the amount of quality in that attacking like third is just unreal.
Yeah, 100%. I think when we click, we'll batter like there's teams that I think have leakier defences than Palace, and I think if we click against one of those teams, we'll batter them like 5 or 6-0.
Yeah. So talking about how Arsenal lined up, they sort of lined up in a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, it's pretty much the formation I expected. Tierney isn't fully fit, so Zinchenko is starting. I don't know what the situation will be when Tierney becomes back in full fitness, if Zinchenko will move into midfield or if he'll stay left back and Tierney's just on the bench. So that'll be interesting when Tierney comes back to full fitness. Same with Tomiyasu. This is Tomiyasu gets straight back in at right back. Ben White played outstandingly against
Zaha,
arguably one of the best wingers in the league.
Against someone who, with someone like Saka in front of him, he doesn't need to be so progressive up the pitch because he can just play it off because Saka
so good,
can just bomb it down the line and he will take people on.
Yeah.
And he had a shot like right towards the end of the game, I'm pretty sure, where he sort of cut in and hit with his left foot, or was it right foot?
What, the one that led to the goal?
Nah, maybe. But
there was one that led to goal where he was like jinked inside, then went back outside. Yeah, and it looked like a cross, but Gay.
Because Saka's left-footed, right?
Yeah.
So it was with his right foot. And I just remember thinking at the time, if Saka can get his right foot shooting ability down, he's going to be even scarier this season.
Yeah, 100%.
But like you say, Ben White was outstanding, and it does lead to the question: is when Tomiyasu is fully fit, does he come straight back in? Because I do think he gives you a bit more on that right-hand side.
Yeah.
But against teams who do have explosive wingers like Zaha, will Arsenal look at this and think, actually, Ben White's probably better defensively?
Yeah. Well, it's such a good problem to have that we've got now. Last season, when Tomiyasu and Tierney were out, our replacements in Cedric and Tavares, they're all right, but they're not up to the level.
Tavares just scored, didn't he? For
a banger as well. Yeah, it was a nice goal. They weren't really up to the level to keep our kind of game plan how we wanted to play. But now we've got in Ben White and Tomiyasu, who can both play right back, and Zinchenko and Tierney, who can both play left back. We have depth that, like, if any one of them was starting, I wouldn't be sad about it. And I think another good thing about our back line at the moment is we just look so physically dominant, which we never used to be a couple of seasons ago.
Scary back.
Mate, like, Saliba's got to be like 6'1", Gabriel Magalhaes, big. Ben White, big. Yeah. Tierney can get about. Zinchenko can get about. Tomiyasu, big. We've got a unit of a back line, and that's like not happened for a while.
Before we move on to talk about Saliba, who had an outstanding game,
baller, mate.
I just want to ask you a question. So,
hit me.
If Tomiyasu does come back in,
yeah,
out of Saliba, Ben White, and Gabriel, who's getting dropped?
Wait, that's such a rough question.
Because I've seen back earlier, you can't. There is no clear option.
Honestly, yeah, that's like a problem that I wouldn't even know how to address.
But like you say, it's a nice problem to have.
Very nice problem. I'd probably say Ben White, as rough as that is, because he had, apart from Saliba, probably the man of match performance. But I think just obviously Gabriel Magalhaes is lucky in the sense that he's the only really good left-sided centre-back.
Yeah.
So his place is pretty cemented. Secure. And then it's Saliba or Ben White. I think just how good Saliba was in his first game and just how dominant he is. Maybe if it's a game where we need a bit more physicality, we play Saliba. But if it's a game where we're playing maybe a lower team in the league where we have the ball more, I think Ben White's probably better at progressing the ball and is a bit more nimble and can see a pass a bit better than Saliba.
Yeah, I think it's problem to have. But like you say, it's an impossible situation, but it's a nice one to have.
100%.
I want to sort of talk about how Arsenal set up. So they started in this 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
With Partey and Xhaka playing that sort of holding midfield role. We sort of expected them to set up like that, but I think when Vieira comes back into the fold and he's fit again,
or even Patrick, but you're talking about Fabio,
even Smith Rowe, who can play as that 8. I think with Partey, especially against a team sort of who's less dangerous than Palace, Playing with the single 6 in Partey and then playing with the 2 8s in Smith Rowe.
I think that is
Xhaka can play as an 8 as well. But yeah, Xhaka...
We saw that a bit last year, didn't we?
Yeah,
but he's just not as good as the likes of Smith Rowe or Vieira in that position.
Odegaard I do prefer in the 10 role, but probably does the job at 8 in an 8 role as well. But what I found really interesting was how Arsenal sort of manipulated the spaces on the pitch to really stop Palace's ball-playing players like Joachim Andersen. And,
do you see his like long pass accuracy and like the clips? He was just spraying like 50-yarders, mate.
No, but that's what he is. He's a ball-playing defender.
I think he'll be snapped up.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal defender.
Yeah, he's good.
And his progressive passes are insane. And that's what Arsenal sort of lost control a bit in the second half of the game. But we'll move on to that. But then, so when Arsenal were in possession of the ball, I found this really interesting. You would see everyone would push up the pitch, and then they would leave literally Saliba and Gabriel in the 2, and then they would have a 3 of Partey, and then Zinchenko would tuck in from the left, and Ben White would chuck in from the right, and then you'd have like a 2 with a 3 in the middle, really compact in that space, and that allowed Arsenal to get Xhaka, Odegaard, Martinelli, and Saka into these channels and creating loads of half spaces, which is
almost
exactly
like
what
5s,
is exactly what Arsenal want, because they've got players who are so good in tight spaces. And if you have a player like Martinelli or Saka or Gabriel Jesus or Odegaard who can just jink between 2 players, and then suddenly you've opened up all this space because they've got out of that tight situation, it's incredible to have, because then it makes the defenders question, right, I've got to go to that man, but then I'm leaving all this space behind me, or do I sit back and potentially allow a shot or give him time to make the pass? So it was really, really impressive, and I thought they're closing down, especially Martinelli, who played this sort of hybrid press role. He was pressing against Klein and Joachim Andersen. I thought Arsenal's press overall was phenomenal, because it didn't allow Andersen, especially in that first 40 minutes, to be playing those passes, neither Decore, anyone. Because when Gaeta got the ball, it was, I want to play it out to Gay or to Andersen. And it was super, super impressive. However,
Martinelli's crazy at pressing.
Yeah, Martinelli's the set piece goal, where Zinchenko
knocks it back in.
Yeah, Martinelli was just in the perfect space. Phenomenal. I thought Martinelli was probably my player of the game.
He goes under the radar, because when you have the likes of Saka,
Smith Rowe,
and all them, man, and now Gabriel Jesus, because Martinelli is young and isn't that big name on the scene, he's not English, which doesn't help. He doesn't get as much hype, but I think he's probably like level with Saka in terms of
I think his ceiling is the highest out of any of the Arsenal sort of like trio.
He's so good.
Yeah, I think he's an unbelievable player. But yeah, we're going to move into the second half. So obviously Arsenal get the goal from the set piece.
Yeah, we kind of ended the first half a little bit wobbly.
Ropey, yeah. Was that the Eze shot?
Eze had a shot that he should have buried.
He should have scored, yeah. I mean, Ramsdale...
I had your ankles, because you're a bit of an Eze fanboy.
Yeah.
And he was in one-on-one, and I was like, Luke, how did he bottle that? Straight down the middle of Aaron Ramsdale, and he had all the goals. But that he should have got Palace in at 1-1 at half time. Yeah. And then second half would have been like, it was already a wobbly second half from Arsenal, but at 1-1 it would have been bad.
I want to highlight is Jordan Ayew. I think is one of the most frustrating players to watch, because if you had 30 people on a pitch, right, he would dribble past 29 of them and then lose it to the 30th.
Well, he always balls out against Arsenal for some reason. I think he just gets excited.
Yeah. So, but then basically we'll move into the second half, because the second half is where I personally feel like Arsenal as a team, we saw some weaknesses. Yeah. And I think so. They in the second half, Arsenal sat a lot deeper. Whether it was intentional or not, I'm not sure, but invited a lot of pressure, and it allowed Andersen and Decore the time to play those like sort of penetrating balls, and we did see them playing it out wide to Zaha or to Ayew quite a lot in the second half. And Palace did create some chances out of it. I know Edouard put a header pretty much
straight down the middle as well. Actually, it was like kind of down the middle, but it was a good save.
I thought Ramsdale had a decent game.
Yeah, I think he's...
But I think his distribution left a lot to be desired.
Do you reckon? I saw one pinger to Zinchenko that was disgusting.
Yeah, I know it was something he struggled with a lot at like Sheffield United.
I think the reason we've signed him is because he's got good distribution.
Well, I heard that they brought in a distribution coach specifically for Ramsdale.
I'd say so far what I've seen of him in an Arsenal shirt, his distribution is good. Yeah.
He's not terrible by any means, but I think potentially that is the weakest part of his game for me anyway.
Oh, I don't know. I don't back that.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
Yeah. It's game of opinions, baby.
Game of opinions. Anyway, we saw Arsenal sit a lot deeper, invited a lot more pressure.
Yeah.
And I think against teams who will be able to like have a more coherent press higher up the pitch, we could see some sort of like just more mistakes. Like we haven't really seen them be pressured so like incredibly hard like they will do on against a team like Liverpool or Man City even. But obviously those are the top two teams in the league.
Yeah. I'd say Palace's press is one of the best in the league.
Yeah, it's not bad by any means, but I just think potentially
against better players that are more clinical in front of goal, likes of like you saw in the I don't know if people have watched the Arsenal All or Nothing, but last year when we went to Liverpool and we were getting pressed high and Nuno Tavares made those couple of mistakes,
that's it.
They all led to goals. Whereas like Palace, we get pressed and maybe make a couple of mistakes, but they didn't lead to goals.
They
and
don't have the Mane,
that's the difference between the likes of City and Liverpool and lower teams where like their front three, if you give them a sniff, mate, they're taking the whole baggie.
Yeah, exactly. What a...
That should be a thing. That's quite a good line.
Yeah, well, quite a good line. That's what you've done there. Fantastic. But yeah, genuinely, overall, I think Arsenal were great.
I think what I want to say about the drop-off in the second half is... So we were talking about this at the pub when we were watching it, and you were thinking... The discussion was like, is this... They're just going too hard in the first half and can't keep it up? Or is it something else? And I think it's something else. I think it's a mentality thing.
I think it's a mentality thing as well. And that's why back in previous episodes I've said, I feel like Arsenal lack that sort of experience in the park. I know Xhaka is fairly experienced, and I know Zinchenko's got a lot of experience for his country and for Man City, Odegaard as well. But that sort of like game tactician almost.
It's that. Plus it's the fact that we, I think at the moment, are lacking that kind of let's go fucking murder this team kind of energy. Because like, I'll go back to that All or Nothing. I've been binging the Arsenal All or Nothing. And in the Spurs game last year, the one where we were winning 3-0 at half-time, you saw in the team talk that Arteta gave, he was like, boys, it's 0-0. Let's fucking keep going. Let's keep killing this team. Make it 5, 6, 7. And we went out and it didn't score again and they scored and it finished 3-1. So I think it's not having those killer instincts is what we're missing. Whereas like, a team like City...
They will murder a team.
They will murder a team. And they have the ability to think, mentality-wise, oh, we're going to have 90 minutes of dominance, and that is facts. Whereas Arsenal...
It's like, how many goals can we score?
Yeah, I think with Arsenal, the thinking is, we played so good for that 45 minutes.
Let's keep it to this.
And it's kind of... It's more like, oh, they're going to have a spell. As long as we're good through that spell of pressure that they have...
We'll come out
the other side on top. Yeah. Whereas, like, you can't even think about that spell they're going to have. You got to think, fuck them having a spell. We're going to... These next 45 minutes...
There are no spells.
Yeah, we're back. This ain't Harry Potter. There's no spells.
There are no spells.
We're back. We're going again for the next 45 minutes. And that's the kind of switch in mentality I want to see. And that will come when these boys play together more and they play in more, like, important competitions like the Europa League, and then say we get into Champions League or finals or whatever. You learn that killer instinct. And I think, so the more that they play together in these high value games, you'll learn this killer instinct. And I think that's the switch up that I want to see from Arsenal. This kind of, let's not worry about an opposition and their spell of pressure that's coming, will be the next spell of pressure.
This is the only spell.
And that's it. That's what I want to see from Arsenal.
But how do you rectify that?
I think, like I was saying, it comes from exposure to more high value games like a final, or like losing a final would drill into these players, we need to be more ruthless. Like, say you're 2-0 up in a final and then you don't kill the game off and then you lose 3-2.
Learning how to cope with that sort of... Yeah.
So, going through those, obviously, like we said, it's a stupidly young team. Maybe a couple more winners, like Gabriel Jesus, obviously that was his first game, Zinchenko first game. A couple more winners in the team that would be like, let's fucking murder these, man. Would be good. But I think, long story short, good all in all, good start for
Two thumbs up from BoreDraw for Arsenal. Congratulations. You got 3 points. You got 2 goals on the board. Clean sheet.
What more do you want, really?
What more do you want? We're going to take a little break now. And then we're going to come back and go talk about Fulham versus Liverpool.
Another good game.
And the rest of the games that are to
follow. Let's go.
Football's back, baby. And we are back. We're going to move on to the next game, which was the 12:30 at Craven Cottage.
Luke, never back the early kickoff, mate.
Never back. Was that Gandhi who said that?
Yeah. Mahatma Gandhi said, never back the early kickoff. And I did, because I'm a douchebag. I put Liverpool to win, Salah to score, blah, 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 blah. Finished 2-2. Talk to me about the game.
Did anyone see this coming? I don't think so.
No, not a chance. Not even Klopp, mate. Do you see how fucking raging he was? He was like,
they
or the
didn't water
pitch was a bit dry.
And there's
I was like, shut up.
Tweeted a picture of the sprinklers on the pitch.
Good banner. Good banner.
Good for
we
them.
like that. But yeah.
Wow, Fulham. Very, very impressive. I was so impressed with
the aggressiveness.
So aggressive. They had no fear.
None.
And it was a team who really believed that they could get something from this game. And they did.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the result. Don't know how you'd miss it. But yeah, I was really impressed with how composed they were on the ball as well. There was a lot of times where like Paulinho as well was getting pressed super hard.
He was so good.
And just no worries. Just relax. He's got the ball and he's going to find the pass. He had an unbelievable game. I think Cabano and De Cordova-Reid had phenomenal games as well. Mitro. Is there any?
We can have a segment just about Mitro. Is he going
to score 40 goals in the Premier League?
Is he the most complete number 9 in the world? Like, well, probably not, but like he's in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, he had an unbelievable game.
Bullied Van Dijk,
bullied Trent.
Oh, let's not even talk about what he'd done to Trent. He like dunked on him.
So
that was rough.
Obviously Fulham went 1-0 up. Through the Mitro header,
the back post.
Let's talk about that. A lot of people have been throwing a lot of abuse at Trent for the apparently lack of awareness, not jumping for the ball.
The last couple of weeks we have backed Trent's defensive ability. Yeah. And he always seems to do something that following week that is a bit sus.
I've seen a lot of people saying there's two camps. Either you defend Trent to the death or you bully Trent and you hate the fact that he's a football player.
I think Trent is the best right back in the world.
Yeah.
But
is he the most complete right back in the world?
No.
Do you know what I mean? So obviously when you've got centre backs like Van Dijk, like Matip, like Conte, who can provide that sort of extra, they're so good that they can provide that extra sort of defensive solidity. You can afford to have a luxury player. You've almost got like a number 10 playmaker, but in a right back.
Yeah, 100%. We saw that against City, that if you've got a right back that can ping 30-yard screamers, fucking just get him in the team.
Yeah, he's brilliant from set pieces, especially when now you've got a target man sort of in Darwin Núñez up front, who can get his head on the ball. I mean, it's even better for them.
Yeah, 100%.
But admittedly, he probably should have had more awareness where Mitro was.
Physicality and often switches off at the wrong time.
Yeah, we saw that in the Champions League final, didn't we?
And in the Community Shield final, he switched off. And in this game, he switched off. So he does have lapses in concentration. I don't know if that's because when you're in a dominant team that is on crud the whole game, you do tend to switch off every now and then because you can relax. But that's not the case in this Fulham game because they weren't allowed to relax. Fulham was on them, so he shouldn't. I think it's hard to label it all on Trent because I think 9 out of 10 right backs lose that battle at the far post to Mitro.
Yeah, I mean, Mitro's coming in, he's got all the momentum.
Steaming, yeah.
That was a really hard ball to read as well because it was literally sitting towards the back post. And yeah, Mitro comes in, he's got the momentum and he gets up and gets behind Trent and nods it into the goal. Yeah, I like to be honest, I know there's a lot of people who would say Trent should do better. He probably should.
Yeah.
He probably should be able to have enough sense about him to know his man's coming in from the back.
Yeah.
And even if he just gets in the way or just makes him have to divert his run a bit, it sort of puts him off. Or even if he jumps for it, maybe he can get the block in or...
Yeah.
We don't know, but potentially, yes. Obviously, there are defenders in the world who would have cleared that, but Trent isn't in the Liverpool team for his defensive capabilities. But yeah, so then we've also had the Thiago injury, which is a big loss for Liverpool, I think.
So he's been at... in the last 5 years, in all competitions, he hasn't hit more than 26 games. Which
26 games is the average number, though, for Man City players.
Oh, is it? Well, I didn't know that. But
that's because of Pep's rotation.
Yeah, well, the likes of City and Liverpool, who play 70 games a season, if you've got a centre mid that can only do 25, 26 games... he's a problem. It's like Tierney. It's like the likes of those man who you want them to be someone you build the team around, but their body won't allow it, and you can't build a team around someone that's going to be there for like a third of your games. Yeah,
so that's going to be a big loss, especially against the Palace as well in the next game. And having someone like Thiago who probably can dictate the tempo of a game pretty much better than anyone in the Premier League.
Yeah,
I would argue. Having that sort of loss is going to be major for them. I thought Núñez was really good when he came on.
He was so good. I think that if you've got him in your fantasy team, I think you'd be buzzing because I think that almost cements his start next game.
Yeah, I think like obviously he came on and he had one chance where he should have shot, but he tried to pass it into the middle.
Yeah.
But that will come with time.
I've seen people say he's like the most accidentally good player ever.
His movement is insane, and like Haaland, he's just freakishly fast for his size. And obviously he came on and he did the little back heel flick.
Yeah.
The first one got saved, and then the exact same thing happened like a couple minutes later and went in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And
then like his actual goal, or his Salah's goal, where he like took a touch, but it was such a bad touch that it rolled to Salah.
That's it. Yeah.
I was like, this guy is so accidentally decent.
Yeah. But then we also have the Mitrovic penalty that he won against Van Dijk. First time Van Dijk's been dribbled past. I mean, it's kind of a strange one, that, because people claim that he has been dribbled past, but was counted as a dribble.
Like how do you classify a dribble pass?
Yeah.
Like, what if you get past and then
But Mitrovic won the penalty. Brilliant little bit of skill to jink it round him.
He was so good.
Yeah, and
that's the thing, you don't expect quick feet from a guy that big, but his feet are nice and quick.
Nice and quick.
Someone that like is bigger, like Van Dijk, whose feet aren't that quick. If you do a quick turn, you send him.
Same thing with Haaland and Nunez.
You send them to the shops,
expect
mate.
it.
Yeah.
But like now we're seeing these big players, big like in terms of physicality, who are just technically brilliant as well.
Yeah. No.
Whereas before you don't really expect it out of your smaller players like your Bernardo Silvas or your David Silva, stuff like that.
Outrageous start from Mitro. 2 goals. First game in the Premier.
Shutting up at the people who say you can't do it in the Premier League.
100%.
He's done it against the second best team in the Premier League.
What if he hits 43 goals this season?
Unbelievable. I mean, if he gets 43 goals this season,
Fulham are winning the league.
But it was a brilliant start for Fulham. I don't think Marco Silva could ask for anything more from his team.
I think they played so well. And so we both had them to get relegated in our predictions. If they keep that level of energy and kind of concentration and hunger, they'll be getting scalps across the board. They'll be like that promoted team that does better than everyone expects.
Yeah.
That was a good game.
But yeah, should we move on to another promoted team real quick? We'll talk about the Bournemouth versus Villa game. Obviously, Bournemouth won 2-0.
I was so close to backing Bournemouth.
Yeah, I mean, Villa were just really shit.
Yeah. I keep getting polluted brain. Everyone's like, oh, Villa have got such a good squad. So many.
I mean, we said this
so many good players.
I was
like, they're full of good players that none of them are just going to help you. They're all a little bit too like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Don't even know what that means.
What does that mean? They're just like a bit like.
I think it's like having a team of like end of Arsenal Mesut Ozil.
Do you think they've signed
like, no one's
many
gonna
like players, like people like Digne who thought they were just like too comfortable in a pretty shit Everton squad, or like they've signed Coutinho who's a bit like big time for Villa.
That's what I'm kind of saying. Everyone thinks they're a little bit. Everyone thinks they're a little bit too like maybe too good for Villa, or too good to try, or too good to pull their socks up and fucking chin a man. It's like everyone. I think no one's gonna leave their heart on their sleeve, and
I mean, Villa
got problems there.
I mean, we've said this before. Steven Gerrard could really be
head on the chopping block.
Yeah, but yeah, good start for Scott Parker and the Cherries. I'm kind of thinking, are they just going to be like a direct passing team this year and literally just whip it to Solanke and Kiefer Moore up front?
I was going to say, well, if you're going to go direct, there's not many people that are going to be able to handle Solanke and Kiefer Moore. That's two.
Yeah. Big boys.
Yeah, mate, like that's problems. And if you come up against defenders that don't like that style of play, that aren't comfortable heading every single ball, the likes of, let's say, last season's Leicester, who couldn't defend a set piece to save their lives. If you get that kind of pressure,
if they can get a win every like 4 games, it'll be enough.
Yeah, 100%. So if you get the kind of teams that can't handle that kind of style of play,
and like
and Aston Villa are that team. They're like defensively, they're all right if they're in possession all the time. But if you're just pumping balls into the box and want headers out all the time, Aston Villa are just going to flop.
Yeah. I don't think there's too much more to say on that. It'd just be interesting to see how Bournemouth carry on and if they can.
All I can say is I'd like to see the downfall of Aston Villa.
Well, they spent too much money.
Yeah, I think they got a little bit too excited when they
were talking about Europe.
Mate, yeah, I think that's what's triggered me. They all were saying they're getting Europe, and then they sold Jack Grealish, brought all these players in, and they were like, oh, we're going to get into Europa League. We'll buy Smith Rowe from Arsenal. I'm probably a little bit salty about that. And then...
A bit salty seeing Martinez do well for them, though.
That little period where he was like...
So he best goalkeeper in the league.
Yeah, he left Arsenal. He was like, it's the best thing I ever did to leave Arsenal. And it was like a year and a half later, and he's still talking about Arsenal in interviews. I was like, my guy, just chill, enjoy your
Leave it
time,
alone.
enjoy your time. But no, yeah, I think they're all getting a bit too carried away. I don't think Steven Gerrard is the manager everyone's cracking him up to be.
It was all Michael Beale.
Let's go.
All Michael Beale. Big win for QPR on the weekend as well.
Yeah, Chrissy
Nice
Willock.
Yeah, mate.
We talked about Chrissy Willock in last podcast where we talked about Ainsley
when
Maitland-Niles,
I said
yeah.
I missed him, and then he came back and he did that.
And he treated you.
Yeah, and then yesterday we lost to fucking Charlton on penalties. So poor. Ty Roberts was good though. I like Tyler Roberts a lot.
That's the Leeds done.
Yeah.
Is he on loan or do you sign him?
On loan with a view to a permanent, so I'm very excited. And Sinclair
good.
Armstrong as well came on, turned the game around. Unbelievable talent. Don't ever look at him because he's mine. He's my QPR.
He's my baby.
Future prodigy. Moving on and away from QPR after talking about Villa somehow.
We'll stay in London though.
We'll stay in London. We're going to go to Antonio Conte. Did you know Spurs, since the start of 22,
Score most goals.
scored the most goals in the
Yeah.
Premier League?
And Kulusevski, since he signed, has got most goals and assists.
Kulusevski, right?
Or is it just assists?
It might be the signing of the decade if you can get Spurs.
Signing of the decade. Blood clot. What a statement.
Because
Clip that one up.
because genuinely, the guy's insane.
He is good.
He is crazy
Yeah.
good. They won 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1.
James Ward-Prowse scored for Southampton.
So from what I
It was a
heard,
nice
I didn't
little
actually
strike,
watch
though.
this game, but from what I heard, they started a bit wobbly, Spurs, and then the second half, it was literally opposite to Arsenal. They just went mental in the second half.
Yes, Sessegnon got on the score sheet, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Kulusevski sort of run the show.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's sad times if you're a Son or a Harry Kane owner in a fantasy, because if Spurs are scoring 4 in a game,
And they're not really involved. I think Son getting
Son got an assist and Harry Kane got nothing. Imagine that. I'd be fuming if you had Son or Kane.
But
in
we
the-
will discuss this in our
Yeah, we'll have a fantasy episode, sorry,
roundup coming out
Yeah. Check
after
the
this
YouTube.
video.
Yeah.
But,
But yeah, for me, Spurs, like you were saying about most goals in 2022, I think the thing is with Spurs, against low block teams, they always looked like they would struggle to find a way to break through. Whereas now, it looks like they're scoring goals for fun. And
with
they
a
can,
with a Kulusevski,
yeah, I think as a low block team, as long as you're against like old pre-Kulusevski, pre-Richarlison Spurs, all you'd have to do is mark Son or Kane out the game.
Well, you just have to
And
press
they
Kane
can't-
so he couldn't find that pass.
yeah,
'Cause
as long as
literally
you
all their
nullify one
goals
of them,
all
they
their
can't work
goals
together.
would come from Kane dropping deep and the defender sort of moving with him,
And
and then he would find the pass.
Yeah,
Like,
so as long as you nullify one of them back in the day,
You
not even
sort of
back in the day,
got
like this time
both of
last
them, yeah.
year, you'd be done. But now Kane can stay up and the other boys go round. Them two can drop deep. Kulusevski can do the run. Son can do the run. They've got so many options now, so many different ways of forming forward moves that I think teams are struggling to cope at the moment. And that's why you've seen such a spike in their goals, because teams used to think, let's play this way against
easy,
Spurs,
yeah.
it'll be fine.
But in that way,
But
they invite
now-
pressure anyway.
They're just finding different ways in. And I think Spurs, until someone figures
them
out
out.
a way to
Nullify all those attacking.
all
output.
the front runs that
Yeah.
Spurs do, I think Spurs will be a problem for a while.
I just have one question though. Obviously, Richarlison signed for fairly big money in the summer. Was suspended for this game anyway. Be back for the next game. Kulusevski playing so well. Obviously, Kane and
Richarlison
Son
wouldn't
pretty
go
much
anywhere near my team.
undroppable.
He wouldn't go anywhere near my front line.
Yeah, well, I mean,
He can sit on the bench.
do you think that's good though? Do you think that's a good thing to have such competitive?
Oh yeah,
strike force?
100%, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, so if it was Arsenal, I'd be like, oh, this is a lovely problem to have, and it is. But that's like a £60 million problem. Like, is Richarlison the kind of person to be happy sat on the bench?
Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell.
Moving on to the next game, we have Frank Lampard's Toffees, and the visitors were Chelsea. Frank Lampard's former team, if you didn't
Back
know.
at his old, well, it wasn't back at his old stopping ground because it was at Everton, but
Yeah.
playing against his old
1-0 Chelsea
beloved
win. Jorginho penalty. Raheem
game
Sterling
was
was
fucking
throwing it
boring.
back.
Not gonna lie. Oh my god, do you see that clip,
Mad.
mate? That is a write-off. That is a write-off.
Everton started with a back three.
Yeah.
And obviously they've now signed Conor Cody, which I think is a good signing for them.
Yeah, a backline of Tarkowski and Conor Cody is.
Well,
Premier League
Conor Cody
proven.
is literally the ideal player to have in a back three anyway, because he's played that entire time at
Yeah.
Wolves, even in England, was brought in
yeah.
for his ability to play in a back three. They need a striker.
Yeah, just
They
going
need a
forward,
striker
they are
so
so
bad.
dry. But like, I was pleasantly surprised about Everton.
I thought they looked very solid.
I thought they'd ship goals against Chelsea, but to the largest extent, they seem to nullify Chelsea, and for them to only score a penalty, I know they scored a couple of goals that were given offside, but I think Everton surprised a lot of people that game because they could have easily rolled over, and I think they played quite well.
Yeah, I don't think they're as in bad condition as everyone's sort of expected them to be. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin's out for a month with a freak knee injury, as Frank Lampard put it.
Problem, mate. I think.
But they need a striker. They don't have anyone in replacement. Yeah. I know Dele Alli came on and sort of played in like a false 9 role.
Yeah,
didn't work. Did Anthony Gordon start the game as sort of like that sort of main striker?
They have signed someone, but I think they're two
striker.
midfielders. They signed that Onana guy, and they're getting Idrissa Gueye back. So their midfield will be looking decent again, I think, because Gueye is always like a good Premier League player, and this Onana guy looks like a bit of a unit. But like we're saying, they just need to go, they need to go forward more. Because even
when Calvert-Lewin's back, they don't have a backup.
100%.
Moving on to another game, we have Man United versus Brighton.
Let's talk about Man United. Because
Eric Ten Hag
I was
must
hearing
be
so much
crying right now.
shit about Man United. We're back, baby. It was like that Rio Ferdinand one where they won against
Put down the contract.
Give him the contract, let him sign it. That was literally the vibe I was hearing. There was like, Man United are back. We played pre-season. We scored so many goals. Shut up.
Man United were diabolical. Maguire
defensively
was all over the place. They have no identity in midfield. Fred cannot play as a 6. McTominay should have been not the player. Should have been sent off. Lisandro Martinez, I thought it wasn't actually the worst, but like playing alongside Maguire, he looked terrible. Should have been a penalty given against him anyway.
When he body.
Yeah, I just nothing really was going on. They looked better in the second half when
Ronaldo
because they started the game and Eriksen was playing as a striker.
Yeah,
but it just like why.
No, they looked better when Ronaldo came on.
Yeah, and Ronaldo came on, gave him an actual focal point to play through, and Eriksen, Fred came off, and Eriksen dropped into the 6 role. And I thought he actually did a fairly decent job playing as that 6. But they looked better even still when Van der Beek came on, because Van der Beek likes to play as that sort of like shadow striker sort of role.
Yeah, he covers a lot of ground. He's like a box to box.
He always wants the ball as well. And I think you can get if you can utilise him, you have to, because you can clearly tell
he's easily got to be your best midfielder. Got to be.
Yeah, and I failed to see how Bruno Fernandes fits into the system. I thought Rashford was wasteful with any opportunities.
Looks so bad at the moment. I know everyone's saying this is the season he's coming back, but if that was the first game, that was bad.
De Gea's distribution was diabolical.
So bad. I think we said this a couple of weeks ago.
He's not a sweeper keeper.
If you want to play that kind of style, the likes of City,
you need to get an Alisson or Ederson.
Someone that can play with the ball at their feet. And De Gea's distribution is so bad.
Great shot stopper, but just all over the place. Like Maguire, his positioning for some goals. I know a lot of people have been saying that he's getting drawn out position because he's trying to help out his teammates.
I think the problem it's what we said in our Man United preview, is that the Man United back line, a lot of them are low. I don't want to say low IQ in general because that's rude, but like low IQ football players.
Fucking stupid.
Fucking dumb cunts. Basically, we were saying that they started with Luke Shaw and Maguire. And the problem with that is, we've said this in our United preview, is that football IQ wise, they're both really bad. One of them can't help the other out because they haven't got the football IQ to be like, Luke Shaw's making that run. Let me be aware and cover this space. Or Harry Maguire's going to go win the ball a bit more centrally. I can tuck in. I don't need to make a darting run. But there's either no communication or they're both fucking dumb and they're not talking enough. And so Luke Shaw bomb up the wing right when Harry Maguire goes to step in to make a tackle. And then all you need is a 1-2 round them and you're in an acre of space. So the problem is, you got too many stupid cunts next to each other. You need...
Get some smart man in. I think Martinez is that. Martinez will be that. And I think obviously Varane, you can't... Like, Varane's won so much. He's played with some of the best centre-backs in the world.
It's crazy.
But is it because Maguire is the club captain?
Yeah, you're trying to shoehorn Harry Maguire into this team and it's a problem.
I thought Dalot was actually not the worst right back.
I'd say he was the best defender on the pitch.
Yeah, I thought on the pitch.
On Man United?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on the flip side though, Graham Potter's Brighton set up unbelievably well. They've lost two massive players in Basuma and Cucurella. They literally lost Cucurella like days before this game.
Let's talk about
they were brilliant.
Moises Caicedo. What a player.
Fantastic. Trossard.
What a player.
Pascal Grosch as well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I thought Welbeck
looked like prime Ronaldo, man.
Everyone in that squad knows exactly what they need to do, and it works as part of a system.
I could look like prime Ronaldo against Harry Maguire, I reckon. Not gonna lie.
But yeah, everyone like none of these players when Graham Potter was signed were the players they are now.
100%.
And he will take a player, and no player they sign is the complete thing.
No.
But he molds them into the system, and the system works so well.
Yeah.
And look, I thought, just unbelievable. And I think Brighton are really on for a big, big, big season. I'd love to see him do well, because I think Graham Potter really deserves it, because he goes out there and he plays brave football against big teams.
Yeah, 100%.
If United even are a big team anymore.
That's a discussion for another day, I reckon. Anyway, we're going to take a little break, and then we'll be back with the final few games of the first game week, and run you through our predictions for game week number 2. Let's go.
Let's see if we get some more accurate scorelines.
Come on, we got one each last time. That was nice.
We're back in a minute.
Back again.
And we are back. Time to talk about a game that we called... Yeah. No, we did. We called Aston Villa Bournemouth a stinker, right?
I thought we called this one a stinker.
It might have been this one. Anyway, it wasn't a stinker.
It was good.
Leicester were phenomenal for the first 60 minutes.
Yeah, 2-2.
Then it ended 2-2. I thought Leicester were really balanced in their midfield.
They looked dominant for large parts of the game.
Dewsbury Hall, Tielemans, and
I think Dewsbury Hall is going to be a good player.
Yeah, I thought Maddison as well, playing in behind Vardy, was very effective.
Yeah.
And then sort of Thomas Frank did this little tactical tweak.
Brought on Josh Da Silva.
Yeah. Who I had in my fantasy team and took him out.
Fuming. I did the same. I had Castagna in my team, took him out for 8 Nori, and Castagna scored.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes, isn't it?
But
yeah, so it was really weird. Because
talk to me about Leicester.
Leicester
is there
brilliant,
a problem there?
And then they went to a back 3 in the second half, which I don't know if you remember, but when Brendan Rodgers was at Liverpool and he was coming to the end of his time there, he was like coming up with these crazy formations. And back 3 is not a crazy formation, but it wasn't suited to the team. And then so he goes to a back 3 with this Leicester team in like the sort of the dying embers of the game, and they just fell apart. And Thomas Frank, like, he brought on Josh Da Silva and sort of switched it up, so they sort of had like a sort of diamond in the middle.
They went quite attacking for the last bit.
It was very Cruyffian.
Cool. Cruyffian.
Yeah.
Talk to me. What does Cruyffian mean for those?
Johan Cruyff.
Yeah. It's very
influential
prime.
Into this in the modern era.
Very old school Barcelona.
Yeah. Literally changed the way football was played forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they just fell apart, and that was it. And then Brendan Rodgers, after the game, they made one substitution the entire game, right? And he comes out in the press conference at the end and goes, "Yeah, the players were tired."
Tired from
Thomas Frank used all 5 substitutions, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have five substitutions. Yeah. You can get 3 opportunities to use them, right?
Yeah.
So you can use
in like
any amount that you want, but you only get 3 opportunities to use them across the game.
Yeah.
So you can't time waste, basically. And my man brought on one player.
I think Leicester, one of their issues is definitely squad depth.
I mean, Ricardo Pereira is always injured.
Yeah, bless him. Because
he's an actual
absolute
player,
player.
Yeah.
But I think his legs have just gone. He's out for like 6 months now. He's just come back from like a year-long injury.
So
that's sad for him.
Like,
they need to get in the market, I think, Leicester. But the problem is, from what I've heard and read in the media, they got no money.
No,
and the only way you're getting money now, you got to sell those big boys. For Fofana looking like he's leaving.
Tielemans will he's got Maddison, a year left of his contract.
Yeah, they've got players that they could ship off for like. If you sold Maddison, Fofana and Tielemans, that's easily 150 million.
Leicester are a far better team with James Maddison in them.
Yeah.
In the team.
Yeah.
But they did play for large chunks of the season last year without him.
Yeah.
And they did fairly all right. And I mean, if you lose Maddison for 50 million, he goes to Newcastle, and you can invest that, like Leicester have done in the past when they sold players like Mahrez and Conte.
Chilwell, Maguire.
Drinkwater.
They've got a history of selling wisely,
but and reinvesting
wisely.
Players like Ndidi,
100%. I think they know that they need to get in the market. It's just hard because like if finding the perfect replacement takes time,
and if they don't have a lot of time left.
Yeah, if you sell the likes of Fofana, Maddison, and Tielemans,
That's a big
you
your
lose
strength gone.
arguably your 3 best players in one go and can't reinvest smartly, and you end up doing panic buys.
Like
you're
United.
going to be in a worse situation.
Yeah.
So it's trying to juggle the right thing, and I think they're in quite a precarious situation at the moment.
But yeah, like I said, the first hour of football was brilliant, and it was perfectly. It was almost boring to watch because they were so in control, and Brentford was so shit. But it ended 2-2, and that's football for you.
Talking about boring because they're in so much control. Let's move on to Man City versus West Ham.
What was it? 80% possession,
Mate,
78%.
They just strangled the life out of West Ham. I've seen games like it. You get the occasional one every season where Man City have like 99% possession.
This was the first game of the season.
First game of the season against a team that they're like known to struggle against. I was expecting a bit of a fight.
Yeah,
but West Ham just got suffocated.
Let's just talk about the main duo in the game. How good were Haaland and De Bruyne?
Yeah, their kind of link up in the Community Shield, it looked like it was still in the process of figuring each other out.
Go check out our TikTok because we clipped a bit that we spoke about, and we literally predicted exactly what was going to happen this game. The pass through, we said about it in the Community Shield, the passing wasn't there, and they've worked on it.
I mean, it's not very high tier football IQ from us.
But that
obviously
pass
that was
is
going to happen.
undefendable. You
But
can't defend against that pass.
And what I saw, so it was 1-0 getting into like the last 20. And the thing now with City is, if they're winning 1-0 in the last 20, they don't even need to try because a team will come out and try and get that equaliser.
And then they will.
And then Kevin needs to do one. He doesn't even need to concentrate. Just one
killer pass. That's it.
When they step forward, when the opposition step forward, and Haaland will be on the soldier and gone, and they'll be 2-0 like they did to West Ham.
I mean, do you know what?
It's so easy for Man City now.
Haaland is so freakishly fast.
So fast.
It's unbelievable. I mean, he must just be an absolute, like, genuinely, if you defend against him or you have to defend against him, you will be having nightmares before and even worse nightmares afterwards.
Yeah, 100%. He's so strong. Like, you saw West Ham have quite like a big team. There's like 6-foot players all over the gaff.
Yeah.
And there was crosses coming in and he was winning every single cross. His heading is a little bit suspect, but I think from what I've read about his time at Salzburg and then his time at Dortmund, that has been his weakest attribute.
I've also heard
for a big guy, his heading isn't great.
He is literally like the most spongy player ever. He just wants to learn more and more.
Yeah, I've heard, he's like very eager to get better. And that's exactly what... And you could tell his mentality was elite. Do you see the post-match press conference where he swore?
Yeah.
So funny. But he was like, even though he'd scored 2 man of the match on his debut, he was like, I could have had a couple more. And I was like, that is what you want, mate.
Mate, I'm so happy he's here.
Yeah.
As a team that's not in the Premier League,
yeah,
and I don't have to play against them, I'm very happy I'm here.
QPR against Man City in the FA Cup. Haaland.
We'll absolutely play them off the park, mate.
Come on.
Absolutely. Chrissy Willett will dominate.
You'd love to see
it. Yeah, it will happen.
Let's talk
it can't be the Carabao Cup because we're out of that. But, but yeah, no, Haaland was brilliant. And also, before we talk about West Ham,
hit me.
The way the ball comes through and he lets it run and he's at full pace and then he sees the keeper coming out and he opens his whole body and that's it.
Do you know who that's reminiscent of?
Thierry Henry.
Of course, mate. He's like, as far as like a player that could do that consistently and perfectly, Thierry Henry was your guy.
Yeah.
Fast, big, would beat a defender on the last shoulder, open up his body and do the most disgusting curl. Oh, what a man.
But yeah, no, I thought it was an excellent...
Poor.
Oh, I'm attacking the set now. Smash up the set.
But yeah, just
West
absolutely
Ham
suffocated the life out of West Ham.
Also, Grealish was shit.
Grealish was shit.
That's all I have to say on that.
Yeah, there is probably brewing a kind of problem with Grealish. Like, how much longer can he ghost games for 100 million? There's a problem brewing.
But let's talk about in Man City shirt as well, which was nice.
Yeah. Let's talk about West Ham. Is there a problem? There's not a problem. Obviously.
No, I mean,
most teams will get back.
You can only take the game against Man City with a grain of salt. Man City are just levels above pretty much every team in the league.
Yeah, 100%.
And I thought, I kept seeing Antonio on the floor every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Are his knees just gone?
Yeah, I think the Skamaka for the last 10 when he was on actually looked quite good.
Yeah, he looked really good. I was really impressed.
He's in the kind of ilk of Haaland and Nunez, big, scary, fast.
I get a bit of a Mitro vibe off him.
Yeah, I think he'll be if he gets a run of games,
he's a scary looking guy.
I think he'll do business, mate. He looks good.
I think we will see this season West Ham phasing out Antonio and moving Scamacca into that main role. 100%. I wouldn't be surprised if it's within the next 5 game weeks.
Yeah, you paid like 40 million for him, and he said he's coming to
be the number one.
Number one. So I think you're probably right.
I thought Declan Rice was all right. I didn't think he had a bad game, but
he was all right. It's just hard. Yeah,
I mean, but the thing is though, when you only have like 20% of the ball, what can you do?
100%.
What can you do? And like there was a couple of chances where they sort of managed to hit them a little bit on the counter.
Yeah,
but it wasn't enough. But if I'm a West Ham fan, I'm not worried at all. I just think
that's one of the games.
It is what it is.
You just write it off. The season starts.
The season starts
next week. Tonight, whenever the bloody game week starts tomorrow.
But should we move on? That wraps up that game. The first round of games.
A good game week to start.
Yeah, very exciting.
Decent games, goals galore.
I mean, we saw 2. We didn't even cover the Forest game. 2-0 to Newcastle.
Oh yeah,
what we predicted, but Forest didn't seem to be themselves. They were in the Championship, but I think it will take time, and I think they will give Steve Cooper time. That's all I have to say on that.
Newcastle, I think there's no surprise. So that is actually talking about us moving on to our predictions next.
The only one we got
spot on. Both of us said 2-0. Absolutely nailed that.
Both of us said that.
Yeah, absolutely nailed that one. So, we both expected Newcastle to do well. Nottingham Forest, as well as they did in the Championship, it's hard to adapt to the Prem that quickly. And so Newcastle, who are momentum is super high, signings were super good. Their pre-season was good. Nottingham Forest is a good game to start your Prem season at home as well.
Especially to put down a team that's got a lot of hype coming into the season.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling. Yeah.
I think it's a good start as Shah scored an absolute screamer.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. He scored one exactly like that before,
I saw it was like a mirror of like the other one.
Literally almost the exact same goal.
I saw a tweet, it was like Deja Vu.
Deja Vu.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
But talking about our predictions, should we make some for the next week?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even thought about these games.
No, neither have I. I think that's how we should do it.
We're doing it off the cuff.
Yeah. I think if I think about it too much, I'll get all of them wrong.
Horrendous. I think you're 1 point up on me from the last game week.
So the kind of how we've got the system is you get 0 points if just completely wrong result. 1 point if you get the right result, as in like a win, loss, draw, but you don't get the correct score, and then 3 points if you get the correct score.
That is how it works.
Check out our
Ross
stuff.
is 1 point up at the minute, but it's a long season.
Yeah, it's a long season. We'll do like a little. You were saying a little forfeit. I shat the bed at that idea, but
we'll find something.
We'll find something fun.
Yeah.
But so what's the plan? We'll talk through the games and then we'll do our predictions.
No, I think we'll just do our predictions and talk through them as we go.
Okay.
We're looking at we're like 50 minutes in, mate.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah.
People got things to do, mate.
Things to do, aka listen to this podcast.
Listen to this podcast and all the previous ones and the next ones,
right.
And then to the YouTube competition.
Early game, never back the early kickoff, but
Stinky Villa,
England's arguably best ever central midfielders going up against each other. Steven Gerrard versus Frank Lampard.
Frankie Lampard.
Two managers whose heads are probably closest to the managerial chopping block. What are you talking? What are you saying?
I fancy this to be a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. I think both of them have got problems and you don't want to be on that losing side. So I do think it's going to be a cagey affair. I'm going to go... 1-1.
I was going
to... was a shout.
I was going to go for a 2-1 Villa, but I just think they, tactically wise, it's just all over the place.
I might go 1-1 as well.
1-1 draw?
Yep, I think so. Moving on to my boys. Arsenal-Leicester. Arsenal at home. Leicester come off bottling a 2-0 lead. What are you saying?
I thought Leicester were good in the first 60 minutes. I thought Arsenal were very good in the first 45 minutes.
Shall I go first for this one?
You go first. Go on.
I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Leicester will score. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Arsenal.
Oh, I should have said 3-1. Should I change?
You can't now. You locked it in. We ain't got time.
No, yeah, I'll stick 3-0. I'll back the boys. Brighton Newcastle. This is a game. Two teams that have come off very good starting results.
Both teams are just...
That'll be a good game.
Very excited. I'm going to go for a 6-6. No.
I was like, let's go!
No, I'm going to go...
If it finished 6-6 and you got that score prediction right, I'd say you win the whole tournament.
That's it.
That's it, literally.
I'll just replace you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah, you talk. I'll be behind the camera.
I'm going to go for a 3-2 Newcastle.
3-2 Newcastle. Okay. I'm going to go 2-2.
Now I want to say 3-2.
Now you're locked in. You're locked in. Shut up.
No,
I'm joking.
Right. Man City versus Bournemouth.
What did you say?
3-2 to Newcastle.
Okay, and I said 2-2. City Bournemouth.
I've gone with very high scoring games now.
Yeah.
I'm going 5-0 Man City.
Yeah, I was back in 5 or 6. I'll go 6.
Yeah, I think Haaland's going to score 4.
Ugh, get him in your fantasy team.
But Bournemouth proved us wrong last week.
Yeah, that's true.
If they could do it again this week,
Against City.
they're winning everything.
Champions League.
Champions League.
So I said 6-0, you said 5-0. Southampton Leeds.
I don't know about Southampton. I mean, Spurs are a very good team. Very well drilled under Antonio Conte. Very hard to beat. Very hard to play against. Leeds, fairly good against Wolves. Deserve the win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to... Actually, no, I'm going to go 2-0.
We didn't even talk about the Leeds-Wolves game.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Nah, not me. We can't cover everything, Roz. We can't cover everything. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Southampton.
Nice. You were like, I'm not sure about Southampton. 2-0 win for Southampton.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1. Not draws this week.
Yeah. That's the way thing. When I whack on a bet, I'll do like wins like for teams. And you always just forget that a draw is a possibility. So yeah, 1-1 I'm going for.
We've got quite an interesting game in Wolves versus Fulham.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fulham off a great result against Liverpool, and then Wolves off a pretty poor performance against Leeds. Thought Pedro Neto was good though.
They just signed Gonzalo Guedes from Valencia as well.
Which means that Pedro Neto might be out the door. I know Arsenal being linked with him as well.
Would be nice.
Where the fuck are they going to put him?
Left wing. We need a left winger.
Yeah, but you got Martinelli, mate.
I think rotation.
Yeah. Squad depth.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Wolverhampton Wanderers.
I was thinking that, but I think Mitro coming off that result. You say I'm trying to copy you? Nah, I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves.
2-1 Wolves?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to do the next one first?
Yeah, Brentford United.
4-0 Brentford?
So my problem last week is I backed United against Brighton when in the back of my mind I knew United are shit, but I still bottled it because they're big United. And I was like, oh no, I've got to lean that way a little bit. But I'm going to go for another upset. I'm going to go, there's going to be absolute turmoil United post this game. I'm going to go... Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 Brentford.
2-0 Brentford. I'm going to go...
Imagine the scenes if it actually is. Fucking hell.
I'm going to go for a... I don't know if Man United won't concede. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Man United.
Oh, okay. That was nice.
Right. 2-0 win. I think they might make it click.
Against West Ham.
Just back on United one.
Yeah.
I think Ronaldo will start.
He's got to.
And I think Fred or McTominay will be dropped. Ericsson will play deeper. Maybe Van der Beek starts. And then I think they're a bit more of a threat basically going forward. And I hope Varane starts over Maguire.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's a lot of changes because Ten Hag looked fuming.
He had no midfield. But anyway.
Fuming. Nottingham Forest, West Ham.
I'm really excited for this game actually. I think it's two big clubs, big supports.
Yeah, it'll be good. Big result?
I think Skamaka could do a madness if he plays. I think that Forest defence could be for the taking a little bit. I think West Ham will dominate the midfield. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to West Ham.
That's exactly what I was going to say. 3-1 West Ham. Look at this guy, he's so rattled. So rattled.
Do you know what? He's 1 point ahead now, so we should go try and copy
my way to the money.
Can't lose, man. That's that winning mentality that Arsenal don't have. See out the game.
Get me into the midfield. Big game, probably the biggest game of the weekend. Chelsea Spurs.
Oh, do you know what? Spurs always struggle against Chelsea.
They do indeed.
But Antonio Conte, I believe in Antonio Conte. I'm going for a 2-0 win to Chelsea. To Spurs.
I believe in Spurs. It's like the Southampton. I don't know about Southampton. 2-0 Southampton.
No. What did I say?
2-0 Spurs.
2-0 Spurs, yes.
I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs.
Geraldo Canedinho Masterclass.
Going 2-1 Spurs.
2-1 Spurs, okay.
Yeah. I think that defence still isn't totally it for me, Spurs-wise.
Okay.
But ending the week, Monday Night Football.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fast-flowing, attacking football.
Liverpool Palace is always a good game.
Palace had a hard start to the season.
Yeah.
Arsenal.
And I think they've got Man City in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's not nice, but I mean, give them time.
Get them out of the way and then you're buzzing.
If they get to the level of, though, playing against a Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, just on a weekly basis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then they come up against fucking Bournemouth.
You shit on them, yeah.
Bosh! Or Man United, they're going to walk all over them.
Yeah, those lower league teams. But Liverpool, Crystal Palace, what are you saying?
No, I've done the last one.
Okay,
first.
yeah, okay.
You go first.
Oh my God, don't cry. I'm going to go, I think Liverpool going to be a little bit shook, but they're going to come back and be a bit angry. Palace, kind of same. They probably think they should have got something out of that.
Is Elise back for this?
Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 Liverpool.
Do you know what? I was thinking exactly the same thing. No. I'm going to go for a 4-1 Liverpool.
Oh, it's pretty much the same thing.
Nah, better.
More goals.
Braver.
More goals.
Braver. But yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. I'll whip up another little post, get the scores sorted. Scores on the board.
Scores on the board. Put your predictions down below. Yeah. That's a perfect idea
I want
for the
to
comment.
Hear your score predictions.
To enter the giveaway. But yeah, enter the giveaway.
Yeah.
We'll do a post about it as well. All the T's and C's will be down in the description.
Mystery shirt giveaway. Comment on the YouTube channel videos. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Easy as that.
Your favourite retro football shirt, or your predictions for the week, or why Rozzie's got so many bad opinions.
Off.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm alright. Yeah. Oh, friends.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure to follow us on all our socials: TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah, follow the socials.
Twitter.
We're close to 200 followers on the old Insta.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Rozzie's getting a tattoo with BoreDraw.
I am.
Yeah. If we hit 200 Instagram followers.
Everyone, enjoy your week. Get excited for the football. We've got a fantasy video coming out as well.
Football's back, guys. It's back.
Tell us about your fantasy team.
Tell us about all your fantasies.
We like a fantasy.
We like a fantasy. Thank you so much for watching, guys.
We're waffling. Good night, guys.
It has been BoreDraw, and it's live.
Bye.